I wanted to come on and I wanted to share something before my busy and chaotic day got started. I am a stay-at-home mom, and I want this to reach the right people, not even just stay-at-home moms, just moms in general. I'm a person who thrives on routine, but at the same time I can get to that point where I'm like, oh my gosh, this again. Like, my days feel so repetitive, day in and day out, doing the same thing over and over again. And I've heard so many other moms say that it's really, really hard because you enjoy taking care of your family, you enjoy taking care of your home, but the everyday constant routine just gets to be too much, and it gets to be boring. And I heard something the other day, and I actually had to write it down, and I want to tell you guys what it was, because it just resonated with me so much. And I kind of tend to read this every single day, if not every other day, because it just makes me feel less in a rut, less like, oh my gosh, this is just routine, this is boring. It makes me feel so much better, and it makes me feel more like a purpose, like I have that purpose, you know what I mean? So it says, we often complain about the repetitiveness of our days, day in and day out. The same morning alarm, breakfast, housework, work, looking after everyone else, dinner, baths, bed, wake up, repeat. But do we ever stop to think how much peace is in consistency? How lucky we are if every day is the same. How there's so I get too into this. How lucky are we if every day is the same? No big disasters or nasty surprises. How there is so much value in enjoying home life. To get up and do the same task day in and day out is actually such a blessing. Laying your head on a pillow at night and thinking about what to cook for dinner the next day is a level of restfulness some people never experience in their entire life. This world can be cruel and unnecessary. So if you have peace of a boring home life, you really have won the lottery of life. That just chills. Gave me chills. I think it's so easy, and I'm more or less speaking on myself. And please chime in if you feel like this video, if you feel like, you feel the same way. I feel like, especially as smaller content creators, as moms, as wives, as women, and I'm speaking more for women on this one, it's very, very easy for us to judge where we are in our lives because we see all these amazing other women out there who are at or have different things than we have, or are at a different point in their life than we are at. I, for one, I tend not to do it a lot anymore, but when I first started content creating, all I cared about was seeing those numbers rise, and I wanted to make it, and I wanted to have so many followers, and I wanted to, make all this money, and I wanted the big house and the fancy car and I don't strive for those same things anymore. I used to get so envious and so jealous of all these women that had these things that I just didn't have. And I could not for the life of me understand why I struggled so hard. Why was I struggling when I looked like they just had everything perfect? I don't live in a fancy house. We live off of one income. Sometimes it's extremely hard to even get groceries. The holidays are coming up, and even now I find myself, especially with the holidays rolling around, and I'm going to be delivering my daughter around the same time as the holidays. I just sat there, and even this morning, I kept myself up. I woke up at 3 a.m. and I was stressing about Christmas and how I was going to provide gifts for my son, because our budget is so tight already. And our daughter coming, and I stressed myself to the point where I could not fall back to sleep. And you know what I did? I got up and I prayed and I handed it to God, and I said, God, take this stress off of me. I'm putting this into your hands because I trust in you. I have faith in you. And when I tell you guys, I felt so much better. It honestly felt like such a weight was lifted off of my shoulders. Because God always makes it happen. When people say, but God, like that statement right there, but God, it gives me chills every single time. Because honestly, but God, I just, whew. But this is just your sign today. If you're stressing about anything, if you're comparing yourself to other moms who may have some things that you don't have, a fancier house, a fancier car, all this money to go shopping with, give it to God. Give it to God, and just know that where you are is where you're meant to be at this point in your life. God does not put us through anything that He knows we cannot handle. And He always has our backs. Always. And instead of looking at these things as a burden, look at these things as a blessing. My fiance and I would love a newer home. We would love a big backyard for our children to play in. And we think about it all the time, and we plan it, and we have plans. But everything that I like to do in the morning is list off, and even if it's just in my head, I thank God for the things that I have now. I am thankful for the fact that I wake up and I have a roof over my head. My beautiful children and my fiance have a roof over their head. We have food in our fridge. We have running water. So instead of taking those things that you have anxiety about and looking at the negatives of things that you don't have or things that you want to change, look at them as a blessing. When you turn them into a blessing and look at them from a positive standpoint, you're going to find that your anxiety feels a lot better. And trust me, this is coming from somebody, I've talked about it plenty of times on here before. I am somebody that suffers with mental health issues. I always have. But God. So I just wanted to share that with you guys this morning because I have been meaning to, and I honestly might just bring that up and say it every couple months because it's just so powerful, especially to us mommies who are trying to make it on TikTok and social media and everything else. It's, yeah, I've got chills. I've got to get ready, guys, but thank you guys so much for joining me this morning, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon.